Greetings, welcome to Jefficho Films. Somebody mentioned this movie in my comments, and then I looked it up. I was just like, David Hewlett's in it? Oh, well, gotta watch it now. So, let's review Boa vs. Python. This movie starts out at Atlantic City, New Jersey, and it's showing us two different scenes. One with emergency vehicles transporting something, and another at a reptile wrestling match with the dragon versus the boa. And those are some terrible luchador masks. Even Broddick are watching a wrestling match, and she doesn't like the flirty Captain American waitress who intentionally brings her stuff she didn't ask for.
I said raisinets.
Ramon calls to say that his package has arrived, and it seems to be awake, so they actually have to pull over to trank it again, and naturally it escapes and security team forces fight it, and Ramon doesn't make it. Back at the wrestling, Eve actually has to pull out a gun on a wrestler and tell him to get back in the ring. This isn't Bloodsport, this is wrestling. I don't think he was going to run away. Then they're on a private jet that looks like they have a bathhouse. Can you even have like a bath on a plane? Hot tub? I mean, yeah, if you're rich enough, but it seems like it's a bad idea. Anyways, Eve steps into it and we see that she has a snake tattoo. And I think it's important that you see that too, because this movie is about snakes, so the connection really is paramount. I'd fire your tattoo artist because that's pretty weak sauce. However, you can see that the director really thought this was an important scene as he stays with it for quite a while. Then a snake slithers in POV style and she comes out and tells Broddick that she hates snakes. Maybe she hasn't seen the tattoo on her back. We learn Ramon brought in a giant snake for Broddick and his clientele to hunt before his ultimate demise. And then interrupting sex, he gets a phone call about his truck's missing. Then we get a news report, and Agent Sharpe on the ground getting interviewed by a terrible reporter.
So is the government officially deeming this an accident, a multiple homicide, or possibly an Al-Qaeda terrorist operation?
I wouldn't know, I just got here. Oh.
Sharpe finds a scale, and then a hole leading into some double doors leading into the sewer. Random dude Carl and his buddy get taken out at the Philadelphia water treatment plant, POV style. And Sharpe decides he needs to lock everything down, and he wants the CIA Larson Project files. God, Larson Project when Russia was attacked by a giant snake. Please don't tell me this is a connected universe. It probably is. Anywho, Sharpe wants Monica Bonds.
2 minutes isn't bad, but I can beat it.
She's at a resort surrounded by dudes challenging her to an underwater breath holding contest. If she's going to be the foremost expert on something, oh, what a way to introduce her. The crowd's very excited, people are betting on this. And okay, how does her taking off her top underwater get this reaction? And when she comes back up, her top is back on. Movie logic, come on. Sharpe and Monica know each other and they go to see Dr. Emmett, played by my boy David Hewlett, and he's looking like Stargate Atlantis hot, like pretty buff. He grew a giant boa and they have to go through a bunch of security doors to go see Betty, and he's using her for some anti-venom.
What kind of situation could possibly require the use of his boa and my implants?
Dr. Emmett, how well would your boa perform in an uncontrolled environment?
He feeds Betty a snake. It must be pretty well trained not to eat any of them. Sharpe wants to use Betty to hunt the python, and then we meet Tex and the other wealthy hunters, and they jump on Broddick's brain, and they're quite the crew.
Here comes a party. My good friend Tex. Mr. Foley, our military's greatest sniper. Try not to stare so hard, Eve. Glad to see you all could make it to our little safari.
Sharpe explains his plan and we get some classic Hewlett. Your plan is stupid, here's why I'm smarter than you. I love it. Everybody keeps talking about how large the scale is, that must mean the python's huge, but it's a small scale. Emmett surgically implants things into his boa, and then we meet a couple who's having an odd conversation, and without taking off her pants, and then the snake,
Brian, don't stop.
Anywho, the surgery was a success, and we got some contact and sensor pads installed into the boa, because those are important. Then we meet Kent, who's doing a news broadcast, and then he just keeps talking. I'm like, Snake, hurry up and kill him. But thankfully, Kent needs to get a signal for his cell phone, so he wanders off and gets killed POV style. Thank you.
Lewis?
Monica and Emmett don't get along right away. Let's just be honest, she comes off a little bit ditzy at the start, but she does prove herself as it goes on, and they start to bond. But Sharpe's sure being pushy. Emmett offers some superior tranks, and Sharpe finds out that Broddick is involved. He's been after him for a while. He knows all about his hunting parties. And then Emmett makes the same joke that I was going to make when they released Betty.
Couldn't have done it without the doctor's help. And Betty's.
Your equipment is incredible.
Sharpe, Emmett, and Monica all go underground with some armed extras. And what's with the shaky cam? Also, Monica is apparently a tech expert. When we jump back to the hunting party, we see that Tex does a pretty good job screaming when he should be firing his gun. Soldiers are firing at a snake, and then we see Betty. You idiots, you're firing at the wrong snake. Broddick brings his hunting team underground too, because that's where the signal is. And we learn that Emmett's little sister died of a snake bite, which inspired him to work on antivenoms. They finally get the video working on the boa, and they find that it's with the python, and they're mating. Sharpe decides to flood some of the tunnels to get them going the right direction, and then Sniper Boy accidentally takes out Sharpe, and the snakes drag him off. Foley and his ridiculously stupid son try to kill it, and they fail horribly. And Emmett and Monica have to jump in the water, and Emmett is running out of air, so Monica gives him some. Broddick comes across some eggs, and I thought to myself here, oh, am I going to have to research something about this movie? Like how quickly snakes can have eggs, or is the movie going to tell me? So I watched a little bit further, and it says, no, she was already pregnant. Sure, I'll accept that. Eve is being strangled by one of the snakes, and yeah, she's killed. What a waste. An archery dude, the guy that came on this big hunt to hunt a snake with a bow and arrow? Yeah, he was pretty pointless. Emmett and Monica run into Broddick, but then randomly a bunch of FBI and soldiers show up and they arrest Broddick, and they take them and a bunch of equipment to the Philadelphia base camp. So the python ate the boa's eggs, and now the boa wants revenge, and Broddick steals an armored car because nobody watched him after they arrested him. Good job. Then at some local club where they play sweet techno music and have topless waitresses handing out E, the snake goes in and starts eating people, and it doesn't agree with the DJ's music tastes. The FBI and military show up, and so does Broddick, who fires his flamethrower at the snake and the FBI people who don't seem smart enough to shoot him. And Monica's about to get eaten by a snake before we get a perfectly good waste of alcohol. The boa shows up and they battle, and then Broddick, sure, well, he was just getting in the way, so...
Hello, bitch. Remember me?
Why is he randomly shooting always and never at the snake? Emmett seems to take care of him with a trank, and then the snakes do the rest.
I hope you fucking joke, every bitch!
They get out of the club and the snakes start battling some more, and a train starts coming, and Emmett has to hit his electrical failsafe that he installed in Betty to shock her, and the python gets taken out by the train. Betty just randomly disappears, and then him and Monica decide to suit up and go back and try to find the nest. Where's the military? They just gave up on the other snake? The end. I guess they really left it open for a sequel. Well, what can you say? I usually don't even watch these type of movies because they're usually just so bad. But this actually wasn't that bad. I think because it had David Hewlett and it had some semi-decent story writing to it.
Let me get this straight. You want to attach that to my boa and use it to hunt down the python that this belongs to. Well, congratulations. It's the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
It's kind of odd that this was set in Atlantic City in Philadelphia, but it was actually just filmed in Bulgaria. Jaime Bergman was alright in this. I haven't seen her really do anything else amazing. She's been on a couple episodes of shows I've watched. Kirk B.R. Woller, who played Agent Sharpe, well, he was an FBI agent, and I believed that. Adam Kendrick, who played Broddick, was entertaining at least. He was like impossible to stop. He was just a force of nature, honestly. And then couldn't keep his shirt on. Poor guy. Angela Boris' Eve, what a tragic death. Totally undeserved. Yeah, she was evil and she did shitty things, and there was a side plot that she was going to hook up with a sniper dude because he was flirting with her and she wanted to get back at Broddick because Broddick flirts with other girls, but Eve. Shame. And what can't I say about David Hewlett? Guy's fucking amazing. I mean, he was awesome in Stargate. I've loved him in other things. He was recently in Clarice, where he played a bit of a dick. But he's also going to be in Nightmare Alley coming out in 2021, so we'll see. In the end, I've really grown to avoid these types of movies where you got Mecha Shark versus Octoshark and Boa versus Dogtopus, I don't know. It gets ridiculous, and the CGI is usually pretty painful. The acting's usually even worse. I would say that this was actually better because David Hewlett, he made this movie that much better. He made it watchable by every time he was on screen. Broddick wasn't too bad either, the guy that played Broddick.
What?
You and me. We make a pretty good team.
And Betty makes 3. Ready?
Ready.
Now, the lines they had to deliver, often terrible. Hewlett usually spews technobabble pretty good, so he's a seasoned actor on that. Did a good job with it. So out of all the shitty ones, and I haven't watched them all, but I'd say this one's watchable. Boa vs. Python, 2004. So if you're looking for a bad snake movie that's, levels of Anaconda bad, maybe this is it. So check it out. At least you get some cool techno music in that club before, Snake takes care of that DJ. And as always, thanks for watching.
What is that?
Whatever it is, it's live. Sounds like machinery.
It's music.